welcome back once again to the Tech Talks Daily podcast. Now today we have a very special guest joining us. His name is Alexander de Ridder, and he's the co-founder and CTO of a company called Ink, which is the world's first AI-powered content optimization software. And he has a wealth of experience designing cutting-edge technologies and artificial intelligence solutions, and has become a renowned figure in the AI space, working with startups and Fortune 100 companies alike. So I've invited him on here today to share his unique insights on the advantages, dangers, and potential risks of AI, particularly in relation to the future of business, SEO, marketing, and social media. So today we'll also explore his personal origin story and how that led him to the future of the web with Web3 and the ethical implications of using AI in a variety of industries. So buckle up and hold on tight, because it's time for me to beam your ears all the way to Houston, Texas, where Alexander is going to talk about all this and much more. So a massive warm welcome to the show. To set the scene for the conversation today, can you share your journey of creating Ink, which is the world's first AI-powered content optimization software, and also how you came up with the idea too?
So it's been an interesting journey, but essentially I was working in machine learning when neural networks powered by CUDA graphic card accelerated processing for these neural networks kind of became a thing. And I saw the power of these neural networks in how they would become a paradigm shift. I mean, in the early 2010, 2011, 12, the world was abuzz with words like deep learning. I mean, that was like a new thing. And the whole idea is basically that we could finally tell if a picture contained a cat and therefore it belonged to the internet, right? So you give it pictures of cats, it learns how to detect cats, and that's the only thing that matters, because cats are like the Wizard of Oz behind a curtain. We're like secretly powering the internet. But it had a profound implication, because these neural networks would change the way that Google could tip the balance in its favor in its war against backlink spammers. Why would Google pass up on that opportunity? So until neural networks, Google had to rely on like statistical methods, like how many times did you use this word? And they had to rely on your backlinks.
Yeah.
But both of those things were like gained. And so to improve the search result qualities further, Google needed to tap into what we now think of semantic embeddings. And semantic embeddings basically map the meaning of words to a vector, like a matrix, and you get a numerical representation of what the text is actually about. Not just the words in it, but what it's actually about. And so there's a time, like the early days of Google, where my dad could not use Google because he didn't know how to exactly query or search for the exact word that might appear in the document he's looking for. And unless there was an exact match, good luck. Nowadays, my dad is a pro at Google because Google can read his mind. Google knows how his query or his prompt corresponds to output documents that are informative for what people typically search for when they're typing that. And I'd like to think that Google search like 2004 was like the original prompt engineering. And so we're all talking about prompt engineering now in context of using ChatGPT and stuff, right? Knowing exactly how to ask GPT to do something for you gives you an edge. And you have all these Twitter posts. Man, my inbox is full of them. 99% of people don't know how to use ChatGPT full list. Here's a full list of prompts that you can use to unlock the power. Like, that's so 2004, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Because reinforcement learning means that even if you're bad at asking, it is slowly learning how to get better at answering and what your intent really is. Anyhow, the same transition happened with Google thanks to neural networks in like around 2015. Google introduced something called RankBrain, where they started evaluating the user experience from a certain query, and they would measure things like are people happy with this page? And they have a huge arsenal at their disposal. They've got Google Analytics, they've got double-click cookies, they've got Google Chrome, they've got Android, they've got YouTube. They have countless ways to understand how people interact with content and what is good content and what's bad. And so they used these neural networks to optimize search so well that basically it allowed us at that time to build an algorithm that basically takes whatever Google's algorithm concluded is the best content for any search query, allows us to read that content and reverse engineer it semantically to figure out what Google wants for anything. And the outcome is that if you are optimizing or writing content and your intention is to be found in Google and you give Google what it wants, you're 520% more likely to be on the first page of Google.
Wow. And you mentioned the buzzwords of the past there, and equally all our inboxes and news feeds are filled with all these tips and advice on how to get out the most out of ChatGPT or how we're doing it wrong. And AI has now become this big buzzword, and there's so many different solutions and software platforms out there now that claim to be AI that are not even AI. So just to try and demystify this a little bit, can you explain how Link leverages artificial intelligence to optimize content for SEO marketing and social media?
Yeah, so being an AI company is going to be like in a few years from now, it's like, hey, Neil, what do you do for work? Oh, I have an internet company. All right, that's wonderful, Neil. But what do you actually do?
Yeah.
Right? So everyone is an AI company now.
Yeah. A few years ago, everyone was a blockchain company, right? Just to boost their stock price. Now it's
right. And so when the blockchain kids rebranded into AI, we had inherited all the spam with it. And so it's a very noisy market right now. But here's the important thing, right? So in a world where everyone is an AI company, you have to stand out. All right. So you have to be about more than AI. AI is just a way that you do something a little bit better than the way you did it before, right? So you cannot just say, I'm an AI company.
Yeah.
So what is it that Inc. does better than before? Well, we make your content more engaging, convert better, and get found much more likely in search engines, social media, e-commerce, etc. That's what we do. Yes, we use AI to do it. Before it was cool, but it has real life impact. It has real benefit. And yeah, I think that is the main thing to look for. Platforms that already have audiences, that already solve problems, are going to solve the same problems as they did yesterday, but this time they're going to solve it a lot better, faster, maybe not more affordable. They'll just give you more. They won't lower their prices. Not yet. But yeah, so you can do stuff now with AI that was unthinkable years ago. Just a few years ago, I would pay $200 per published piece of content.
Yeah.
Then last year, I got that price down to less than $25.
Wow.
Per published piece of content. And that was still with humans, but using Inc. technology. And yeah, I just got an email from Google. This time last year, we had 150,000 visitors a month to our site. I just got an email yesterday. Congratulations on getting 1.8 million clicks in the last 28 days. And all the content that is causing this 1.8 million clicks was created in 16 weeks time.
No.
For under $25 per piece of content. And we use amazing SEO technology like content hubs and clusters, and we cluster our keywords, and we create amazing authoritative hubs, and we just conquered the topical authority for anything we set our mind to, and it works brilliantly. It just works so well. That said, there is some disruption on the horizon. Things are going to change a little bit. We are about to start the true Web3 transition, and this transition is going to go much faster than the transition to Web2 did back in the day. So I believe that by the end of the year, we are going to see the interactive web, We're going to see dynamic server-side generation as a methodology for creating sites. We're also going to see in the next 4 years, we're going to see 60% of traffic or leads or interactions with customers via search engines not go to web pages anymore. Instead, they're going to go to AI interfaces, which I call A2, because AII is not so nice to say. AI interface, A2s are much nicer. I call them A2. So the search engines are going to interact with your website over an API, which is an AI interface. And in that interface will be the future of SEO. You will optimize these interfaces to get found, engage, and convert, be more complete. So inkforall.com, Inc. is going to be a leader in helping to define the next chapter in SEO for the world. So make sure you follow what we're doing, because we're going to be releasing some incredible forward-thinking products in the next few months. They're going to help businesses be ready for this. It's really a revolution. The web has not changed this much since 2004. So today is 2003, and there's no, Amazon is not what it is today. Facebook is not what it is today. There's no App Store. The world looks a lot different in Web 1 than it did in Web 2. And Web 3 is going to just completely blow the roof off. But I am so excited, Neil, about what that looks like for consumers. Yeah. And if I just may just give an example, I want your audience to just picture this, because 2-3 years from now, we're going to look back at the way we use the web today as Stone Age, ridiculously stupid. and now we think it's cool and there's no problem with it, right? But then television was invented and people this is so much better than radio. Now I can see stuff too, right? And we didn't conceptualize that until it happened. But, people on the front lines like myself can see what that looks like. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So here's an example. Let's say that I've got an iPhone that's 4 years old. Yeah. And the new iPhone is announced by Apple. And let's say TheVerge.com writes an article about the new iPhone. And what every single website ever does is compare that iPhone to last year's model and tell you what's new. Yeah. But my phone is 4 years old. I don't need to know what's new compared to last year's model. I need to know what's new compared to my model. Yeah. And good luck finding a piece of content on that. So here's what I have to do right now. And just bear with me to see how stupid the internet usage is today. To get the answer I need to go to TheVerge.com, find and locate the article. I need to scroll. I need to locate the article that talks about the new iPhone. If it's not written today or yesterday, I'm not a fanboy. I need to use the search function, find the right article. There's maybe 4 or 5 to choose from. I need to guess which one it is, click on it, spend 2 minutes reading it, then open a new tab, do another search, and try to locate the same type of article from 4 years ago. Yeah. Then I need to go spend several minutes reading it. And then I need to open, on my wide double display thing, I might want to open an Excel spreadsheet where I start copy pasting the specs next to each other to make a comparison table, so I can finally know what the heck is new in the last 4 years.
Crazy, isn't it?
This is how we use the internet today.
Yeah.
Absolutely Stone Age, right? So what are we about to get? We're about to get websites that are going to behave a lot more like applications that are intelligent. They're going to have an interface that large language models can converse with. So when you ask the large language model, hey, what's new? I have a 4-year-old iPhone. What's new in the new model? It's going to query its internal database, get the information, and provide a direct answer. Yeah. And that's it. And now that direct answer can take the form of chat, but it can also generate an entire web page on the fly for you that did not exist before.
Like I say, we're already seeing this, aren't we? I did a similar thing with travel. If you want to go somewhere, let's say your partner says, I want to visit this place over the summer. Typically, you've got to have multiple tabs open, checking who does the trips, who does the hotels, who does everything. And I did the other day, I said, I think it was ChatGPT, I said, I want to go to I think it was Lisbon and Comporta in Portugal. I want to do wine tasting, cooking lessons, a few big sites I want to see, blah, blah, blah. It took me 2 minutes to type this in, and then within seconds, it gave me a full itinerary of restaurants I should book using OpenTable, where I should stay, where I should fly, what I should see, where to book the trips, etc. And the only thing missing from that was the book now button. And of course, this is where the big game change is coming, isn't it? That API will link that eventually, and will eventually link me to somewhere like booking.com, and from that query, it goes straight there. And another thing that I did, I took everything that ChatGPT gave me about that trip, and I put it into something called Beautiful AI, and it gave me a 10-page slide deck complete with images, and it broke everything down, made it look brilliant. And within minutes of my wife asking me that question, I had that slide deck there. And
I joke around. I joke around with this. I've got this little tiny vacuum robot.
Yeah.
And I tell my wife, I am a good husband. I'm helping around in the house. I vacuumed the whole house today and yesterday. I mean, what did you do? And then at one call, I was on with my developers, and I was using GitHub Copilot to write some code. And it was like writing code in front of my eyes, and I was screen sharing. And as it was typing, and my coworkers, they were saying something to me. I'm like, can't you see I'm working? Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And something else I would say, before you came on the podcast, I was doing a little research on you, and there's so much more to you than SEO, content, and AI. I also read that I think there's some unique AI technologies you use to develop indoor camera-based positioning systems, people emotion, attention detection, and camera-to-camera handoff tracking systems. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because I think anyone visiting your website may not see that.
So my website's actually totally outdated. I need to update it, but that doesn't mean the information there is not accurate. It's just that I think between like 2008 and 2015 or so, I was really working in machine learning, and that's kind of where I saw this disruption happening into neural networks. And at that time, I just realized that I'm no longer working on those problems today.
Yeah.
But at that time, I did for quite a number of years. I was running an ML team. I just realized that the internet had all these amazing ways to personalize content for you. Yeah. But in a shopping mall, everything was dumb. It was not able to do that, or a large store. And I figured that browsing products and browsing stores is equivalent to browsing the web. And on the web, you have all this wonderful personalization technology, even positioning technology inside mall. Imagine a digital signage, and a man passes by and it shows like a lady's leg shaving product. I mean, it's wasted space unless he's like trying to buy something for his significant other. Optimizing digital screen real estate is just as important as optimizing an ad and ad targeting. Imagine that your ads could not be targeted to your audience. I mean, it would be pretty poor ads, right?
Yeah.
So why should like real life malls be any different? Why shouldn't there be like a top-down view with the security cameras that are already there that alert a store manager that the lines on the cashier checkout lanes are getting long and they should bring in another cashier? Why can't they see the traffic in the area outside the restrooms to see it's time to go clean it? Why go every hour if nobody came in between? A human being wastes their time walking to the restroom to go and try and clean that. And you could actually count pretty accurately based on foot traffic outside the restroom that people are going in and out, and it's time to go clean it maybe sooner to keep the restrooms clean because it just had a peak traffic. Now, humans are pattern beings that we develop kind of an experience on our own, but still the schedule may have this little sheet where they have to sign, at 1 o'clock I came in to check the restroom. At 2 o'clock I came in to check the restroom. When it really should be 1:15, 1:20, and then not again till 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of our, I would say, like brick and mortar offline systems were like hopelessly behind internet technology. So I spent quite a bit of time thinking about how to bring these optimizations to retail. And that was before I switched back fully on to digital. to be part of this, AI revolution, when now my mission is really to help companies get online on this Web3, make sure they are heard, get found, engaged, and convert. We're providing people with the tools as such to do that. And we are going to be releasing 2 revolutionary products very soon. I can't spill all the beans yet, but essentially I can tell you, like, in large strokes, one is going to be about getting your website into ChatGPT and your brand inside ChatGPT, your products in ChatGPT with just a few clicks, no code. And basically you won't be left out. We won't be left behind, and you can improve your customer satisfaction, reduce your support cost. You'll have amazing insights into what people are actually looking for with your brand, so you can improve your content experience and be ready for the next revolution in search. And then the other product launch is going to be very much in the idea, the continuation that do a content campaign used to cost like $200 per piece of content, $250 sometimes, down to $25 per piece of content, down to maybe like cents. And that you can have an entire content team at your disposal, which used to cost you $20,000, $30,000 a month in HR, in the form of an AI coworker. And so Inc. is going to, well, I'm hoping that your podcast takes like a week to air so I can talk.
Yeah, I'm about 10 days to 2 weeks ahead. So right. You've got a good 2 weeks if
right.
You do.
So look, I'm gonna just preview this. We're going to launch SEO.app, which is going to be unleashing an SEO revolution, making every company be able to have an SEO expert in-house as a digital coworker. There, I said it.
Oh man, incredibly cool. I think we're going to have to get you on later in here to find out more about that. And one of the reasons I asked the last question a few moments ago was just to highlight how long you've been working in this space. And as soon as anybody talks about AI, we all know where that question leads later on in the conversation. And that is, as an AI subject matter expert and tech entrepreneur, what are your thoughts on the ethical implications of using AI in business, SEO, marketing, and social media, etc.? It's something everyone's got an opinion on, but somebody that has been involved in this before it was cool. I'd love to hear your take.
So Neil, we just updated our company values.
Yeah.
And this was not part of our values before. In explicit written form, it's always something we cared about, but it wasn't written down in the constitution of the company. And it's social responsibility. So this technology has huge implications for society. And it is really like Alice in Wonderland, and it's also like the Matrix, and Morpheus saying you'll see just how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah.
And we're just at the point where we're making a choice what path to go down, but we don't really know how deep the rabbit hole goes. Right? We can make an idea for it, but the implications of this will be so profound in every industry. Sometimes people talk about the butterfly effect. One butterfly flaps its wing in the Amazon rainforest, and a hurricane happens somewhere else in the world because of the butterfly effect. But now this AI is like a trillion butterflies flapping their wing at the same time, and now it's more complicated than to predict than to get an accurate weather forecast. But here's a few things that we can say. We know it is going to be transformative for society. We know it is going to be transformative for work. We know it is going to be transformative on so many levels and touch every part of our lives. Knowing that, it is therefore important that we are continuously keeping social responsibility in mind at every step of what we do. And so, for example, it may take the form of a new tax framework where we do not tax human beings, but we only tax AI entities who work.
That's interesting.
Right? And so the AI labor, because how is the wealth of a country expressed as GDP per capita, right? So it's the output of your economy divided by how many people you have in the country. That's the average person's well-being. Of course, assuming it's not all like in the hands of Elon Musk and we have some crumbs left, right? And so AI is basically increasing the productivity potentially by 1,000-fold, which means the GDP per capita in an equitable society would improve our life standards 1,000-fold if it's properly spread around. And spreading around has a bad connotation with conservative policies, but AI does really change things. I think no existing frameworks for economy are really suited for what is about to come. And we're going to have to just imagine what comes after this. We have learned lessons on what didn't work with communism. We've also learned what didn't work with capitalism. We've also seen the problems with socialism and the benefits of all systems. So there is going to be the need to basically realize that the parameters or the inputs have shifted, and for us to realign that expectation. In terms of what kind of society this can create, it can easily create a total dystopian future where few people control all the power and the wealth and our freedoms are eroded. And it can also very well create a type of Star Trek society where people's reputation is more important than currency. And this is what we call a post-scarcity society. Now, some really smart minds have already written great books on the topic of what a post-scarcity society can look like. And I think that's a good starting point for your audience if they want to learn more about what that looks like. Essentially, if there was unlimited labor, right, would your house always be clean? Right? Would you take long vacations and spend a lot of time with your children and with your friends? Right? Or would a few rich and powerful people have access to that technology and you wouldn't? And would you live out of their hands or a handout just so you can feed your family? Like how we shape that society, it's an unwritten chapter in the book of humanity. And so we know that human nature tends to gravitate away from freedom and away from social responsibility because of individual people's desire for power, greed, and position, and so forth. However, when we realize that there really is enough for everyone, we can maybe stop fighting too. It's like when I have one candy and two kids, they might fight. But if I have 100 candies, more than they can ever eat, why should they still fight, right? Maybe that will improve our society tremendously. And it's really up to us, and there's also the generation that comes after us to actively participate in this. Like educators say, we don't know how to prepare our kids for the future. Well, how about teaching them some history? And how about teaching them like some of the big philosophical questions from the past and societal questions so that they can they're properly equipped to help shape this next chapter. So social responsibility is very big. I think it is going to be very disruptive in the workspace. We're going to see something that I call the great reshoring happen. We've outsourced a lot of our intelligence work and knowledge work overseas. Anything you can do over a Zoom call, right, can be reshored as well through AI. And so this is going to have some economic impact on developing countries. But on the other hand, those technologies, if they are not in the hand of a few wealthy companies, but they're properly accessible to the wide majority of people, those same technologies have the potential to give those people ability to start their own companies and their own innovation and do things on a shoestring budget that previously took a lot of capital to achieve. And so I can see a 3 or 4 day work week on the horizon. in the next decade, I think a 4-day work week is going to become the norm.
Wow, such a powerful point there. Well, a selection of points. And I'm curious, just to bring to life everything that we're talking about here and everything that you're working towards, I would ask you to gaze into a virtual crystal ball. How do you see the future of AI in content creation and optimization of that content and improving or revolutionizing the way that every business and every business leader listening will approach SEO, marketing and their social media strategy in the future? How do you see all that coming together?
So we need to understand, first of all, the current web is not sustainable. We have an exponential content supply and we have a linear demand. The gap between supply and demand of content is growing exponentially, which means that basically we're all getting drowned in content. That's basically the trajectory that we're on. That means that your brand can't get found anymore.
Yeah.
That means that your voice can't be heard anymore. If nobody sees it, did you really say it? Right? So it being on the internet is not sufficient. So we need to get away from, I would say, creating filler content, spam, repeated content. And so the future of the web is one where you as a company provide an exceptional experience, develop trust so people want to engage with your brand, and you focus on unique data and experiences that only you can offer. For example, you as a restaurant, only you know which tables just became available. You as a warehouse, only you know what products are currently in stock. All right? So things like that, along proprietary data that companies can develop, and they can go to the ends of the earth to go find it, right? Temperature in the current lake nearby, right? Something like that. The reporting on the ground by people, personal experiences gathered, and so forth and so on. Your unique data will become important. Your trust will become more important than ever. And because an AI agent will be speaking to a limited amount of companies at the same time to try and gather an answer. They will not talk to the whole internet in real time. They will choose who they trust to talk to, just like you would. So if you were to try and get a recommendation for a vacation, you might talk to a few friends. You'd ask them what they did in the past that they enjoyed, and you'll build a consensus from that. It will be the same way. So how do you create content now? Very much the way I described. Ink for All can get amazing content growth by just giving Google what it's looking for, which is high quality content. Today, you go to inkforall.com and it provides you all the tools from A through Z to do that. In the future, it will be much more conversational. And I believe that understanding what people are asking for that you don't yet have a good answer for will become one of the most powerful ways to do content optimization. Instead of going after keywords, you go after search intents. You go after giving people exactly what they want, and you do it around the trust and engagement framework, giving people exceptional trust, like fact-checked, unique data, authoritative, and then engagement, and delivering it in a way that nobody else is doing. And it can take a variety of forms how you do that. So look, the future of the web is still shaping up, but I believe that everything I described will take place this year and will happen this year and will then accelerate and spread throughout the web until in the next 4 or 5 years, the web is completely transformed into the way I just described it. So these things are going to go quickly. What's important for the listeners is to just stay aware. When ChatGPT opens their plugin store, that's like the first sign of the change. When they open their plugins to the general audience, not just paid users, that's like the next big sign. Then Bing is going to incorporate plugins in their search engine. That's the next big step. And then Google, Amazon, Alexa, Siri, Bixby, everybody's going to start following that. And the gateway to that is an API interface that lives on your site that powers all these interfaces, all these assistants. We're going to see, we had the browser wars in the last decade. we're going to see that repeated in the next 10 years. It's going to be the AI assistant wars. So I fully envision Microsoft to come out with a totally radically new operating system, a new form of Windows that is fully conversational and already has the ability to talk to any website baked in, that has the ability to talk to your file system, to your email, to everything baked in. It's the opportunity to stick it to Google is too tempting. They will not be able to resist, right? And so once it's baked in Google and Microsoft, I mean, the most favorite word of large companies is bundles, bundling. That's their favorite word, bundling. With bundling, they create monopolies, right? So Google was unsuccessful at dethroning Microsoft from the desktop operating system. They tried really hard. They've been unsuccessful. Apple has been a little bit more successful, but has still failed to capture really the masses and completely dethrone Windows. So all Windows has to do really is to just take all the desktop web traffic back by bundling their AI assistant in Windows. Doing it first. They have a head start with their OpenAI alliance. They have a head start. So I think it would be irresponsible for them not to do it. And therefore they will do it. I think they have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders. And when there's such an obvious way to grab market share, they will do it. And so what is that going to look like? You're going to talk to your computer. You're going to type with it. You're still going to browse the web. Like TV didn't kill radio.
Yeah.
So you're still going to browse the web. But you're not going to interact with the web in the same way as you do now. It's going to research different things for you. It's going to complete different tasks for you. And it's going to be a lot more interactive. So yeah, very exciting times ahead. It's important for listeners to just stay aware. What you need to do today. If you are still creating content and costs you like $200 or $250 a piece of content, stop. Go to inkforall.com and go and just be more efficient. Really, stop. You're wasting time. If you're not coding with GitHub Copilot or something, stop. You're wasting time. Developers are 5 to 10 times more productive. 5 to 10 times. That means like, if you have 5 developers now and you don't need more code, you don't need to go faster, which I doubt. It means you can let go of 4 developers by giving one developer a $10 a month subscription. Are you kidding me? What are you doing? But instead of letting them go, how about you give all 5 of them access to this and you make all of them 5 times faster? Imagine how you can beat your competition now. Imagine how much better your product can be quality tested and everything. So that's the opportunity here. If you're not using it to its fullest extent, you are really missing out. But the web and the paradigm around content is going to shift a lot. And so I do encourage your audience to stay up to date and really keep a close eye on it. It will be imperative that your business becomes conversational with AI. And the way to do it is by building an AI interface. Become a ChatGPT plugin, because that same interface you host on your site is going to power Google search of the future, Bing search, Alexa, Siri, everything. And we've got a product that we're going to launch. We're going to start the pre-launch very soon. So yeah, stay in touch and keep an eye on that. I cannot tell you how important it will be. It will become so obvious in a few months from now. But they say that in order to be successful, you need to have a contrarian idea. You need to be right about it, and then you need to execute really hard on it. And so believe me, this is going to happen. You don't have to take action now. You just have to really stay alert to it, because it will happen sooner than we think.
There's just so much food for thought in everything that you said there. So I'm going to commit to getting you back on this podcast in, I don't know, let's say 4 or 5 months, when you've got the new products out there, the space is evolving. It'd be great to get you back on and see where things are heading and where you continue to see it evolving as well. So we'll stay in touch. I'll connect with you on LinkedIn. But for anyone listening in the meantime, until our next conversation, wants to find out more information about Ink, stay up to speed about those big announcements that are upcoming, what's the best starting point for everything?
Yeah, right now, follow me on LinkedIn. I'm Alexander de Ritter. And I'm also on Twitter, Alexander de Ritter. You can find me there. You can sign up for Ink for All free trial. You don't have to buy, but at least you'll be on our mailing list. So when we have new stuff coming out, you'll be the first to find out. So that's another good way. You can also join our Facebook group for the Ink community, where we'll also be sharing this stuff with our audience. I would also say, Neil, when I come back to the show, feel free to ask your audience for questions that they want to have answered. I would love to answer any audience questions as well. If they have specific questions about what all this means, happy to do that.
Yeah, that is such a great shout. So as you said there, for anyone listening, if we only scratched the surface of some of the big things coming. So if you've got any questions, anything we didn't cover today that you'd like us to see cover, you'd like questions answering, please email me directly, techblogwriter@outlook.com. and we'll continue that conversation. But more than anything, Alexander, just a big thank you for taking the time to come on here, blowing everyone's minds and providing that vision for the future. Thanks again, my friend.
Thank you.
Wow, I think this is a subject that we could have talked about for hours. In fact, I didn't get the opportunity to ask many more questions that I wanted to ask because we just went so deep into this. And for those reasons alone, I'd love to get Alexander back onto the podcast in the next few months and explore some of those areas and how quickly things seem to be moving at the moment. Because today we took a deep dive into the world of AI, content optimization, the future of the internet, with insights into Web3 and the potential of ChatGPT. So I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more captivating discussions like this on everything from technology, AI, and the ever-evolving digital landscape and the impacts this has on businesses and indeed home life as well. So thanks for tuning in as always. Remember, stay curious, keep exploring this exciting world of technology, AI's impacts on businesses, and we'll keep this conversation going together. I think the most important thing is that everybody talks about the exciting things and the big reasons why we need to be reining ourselves in and taking the ethical implications very seriously and the potential dangers we could be unleashing on ourselves. Sometimes I do feel we're like little children playing with toys without realising the future implications we have. So there's so many big conversations around this and we will continue to have them. So thank you for listening as always, and until next time, don't be a stranger.